Hey guys, Ken here for the Retro Toyscapades channel in Malaysia. Huge news and tons of images steamrolling out of POWERCON 2021 over the weekend with official image reveals of MOTU Origins Wave 7 and 8 plus deluxes, Sunman, and gosh, did you guys see that picture they shared of Stridor? Holy hell. Anyway, I decided to split these videos up into separate videos so that it doesn't feel too cramped in here. And since I did a video last week talking about the official listing for Wave 7 of MOTU Origins, and today we're getting official pictures online of the actual toys, this video is going to be covering that. So I hope you'll be sticking around and sharing your thoughts as well. Now, first up, before I get into it, I just wanted to say that it's really great to see events like POWERCON being able to take place, especially in a world that's still suffering from the effects of the pandemic. Now, seeing shows like this being able to be conducted for the public and for fans to enjoy really does fill the heart with hope that things can improve and that we can have some semblance of normalcy soon. Now, to a fan like myself who's located all the way out here in Malaysia, and also for the hundreds, possibly thousands of Masters of the Universe fans alongside me in Malaysia, now shows that like POWERCON might seem like a mythical realm of wonder that is worlds away, literally. But hey, who knows, we might all get the chance to make it there someday. But my congrats to the organizers involved for getting this event off the ground and running. And the MOTU toy collecting community, I'm sure, is in awe and admiration for all your efforts. Now let's get into the official MOTU Origins Wave 7 images that we've seen, and the first one we have up here is the King Bee himself, Buzz Off. Now, in my earlier video where I covered the initial listings for Wave 7, I talked about my sheer distaste for the original 80s Buzz Off figure. Now, I was never a fan of the design for the vintage toy, but the majority of you guys surprised me in the comments with the sheer outpouring of love for Buzz Off, the giant walking humanoid bee. It's like if He-Man ever took a day off, then Buzz Off could lead the team. If Buzz Off was running for office, he would probably be elected president. Now, Buzz Off as a character is certainly interesting enough, but I still stand by my view that his vintage action figure design is a bit goofy. Now, there have been some really great design variations of Buzz Off through the years. The 2002 Buzz Off design to me looks phenomenal. In fact, he looks downright majestic. Now, I was hoping that the Origins reboot of the character would follow along the same beats. After all, we did get a 2002 inspired Evelyn, didn't we? Or something close to it. But the version here looks very close to the vintage original. In fact, it's almost a direct copy, just with added articulation. But this is good news for all of you Buzz Off fanatics out there. News that I'm certain will get you guys buzzing with excitement. The other notable thing about Buzz Off is that the original came with a lot of removable and easily lost accessories, such as the helmet, the axe weapon, and the wings were all separate accessories. In fact, that amount of separate accessories was very generous even for the time. So this version gives you the opportunity to get those accessories again and possibly even replace them on the original figure as well. You know what? I'm actually staring close at the head here and wondering if there were some subtle design changes to his mouth and lips to give him a more neutral or serious look. There may have been, I still feel that the original vintage Buzz Off figure had an expression that was just too jovial and cheerful looking. It's almost like he's one of those mask-wearing serial killers from a horror movie. Next up, we've got Jitsu, who I have to say turned out exactly the way that I thought he was going to turn out. Like mainly another exact replica of the vintage 80s original. Then again, I'm only feeling that way because I've had the original version for years and I'm so used to seeing it, and this one just feels like more of the same. However, I do realize that for many people who have never owned him, this is a fantastic second chance. Now, I do wish, however, that he had something of a different facial expression. Don't get me wrong, he's fantastic as it is, but he's had that same scowling expression for over 30 years, okay? It's like when they gave us the Origins Triclops and he came with a very different, very menacing facial expression as compared to his vintage original. Now that was a welcome change. Now, I did see comments on my previous video from some of you out there who felt that Jitsu was a very stereotypical Asian character on the show. I also think that that would be true of most multicultural characters in the way that they were depicted and written in 80s cartoons, due, I think, to maybe a limited scope of exposure or research on the part of the writers. Hey, you guys remember Bruce Sato, the one single Asian character on Mask? It seems like every single sentence the character would say would be a phrase of wisdom that seemed to have been plucked from the inside of a fortune cookie. With Jitsu here, I'm also very happy to see that they went with the vac metal paint on the chopping hand. This is keeping in line with his vintage original figure. Now, they could have easily just have gone with flat paint, but they didn't. Alright, now previously we only got the vac metal look on MOTU figures with the exclusive Battle Armor style He-Man figure that came in the Battlefield Warriors 2-pack. It's great to see that the use of vac metal is also turning up now on the standard release figures. And now we're getting down to the very first of our repaints in this assortment. And while I have been known to be quite vocal in my dislike of the use of repaints, especially in assortments where the figures are already so few to begin with, well, I can also say that I have been known to be won over, especially when the execution of the repaint is really well done. And that certainly appears to be the case here with the Sorceress of Grayskull. Now I gotta be honest, okay, I look at this figure and I was just like, whoa, she's just so bright and colorful, alright? She's just so totally striking. I love the paint apps on this figure. The Sorceress just looks like she stepped straight out of the animation. And I think that that's the beauty of Origins, okay? When the figures work, they really do work. And the first version of Sorceress that we got was the exclusive Temple of Darkness version that came with the Castle Grayskull playset. That figure was okay, but honestly, you know, she was in an all-white wardrobe and nothing much really to shout about. I think the figure was pretty plain, but this version right here is the Sorceress that everybody remembers. Okay, this is the iconic version of her in her iconic wardrobe. Okay, the one that we absolutely do need for our collection. And I love the fact that the wings here are in a solid color. The Temple of Darkness version had her in translucent wings, which was also a good variation to have. In fact, if they decided to give her translucent orange wings here, that could be cool as well. But I'm really loving what we're seeing here with this figure. I do wish that she would come with an alternate accessory piece though. The falcon-headed staff here is the exact same accessory piece that the Temple of Darkness Sorceress came with, and it looks like we're getting it again here as well. Oh well, you know, I mean, I would have liked some variety. You know, if you guys can think of a suitable alternative accessory for the Sorceress to have, do leave a comment below. I'd like to hear from you guys. Now, the original Sorceress figure from the 1980s came out somewhere towards the tail end of the line, all right? Mattel put it out in the late 80s, you know, somewhere towards the point where the line was basically, I think, about to be phased out. And that's also the reason why the figure is very rare today, very hard to find on the secondary market, in fact, for a good price. So in that sense, I think it's great that we now have a chance to own her as she appeared in the 1980s and to get her carded, all right? It's an incredible gift for collectors to have this chance to own the original version of the Sorceress again. Let me know what you think of her in the comment section. Getting down to the final official image of the Wave 7 assortment, and it's none other than the Straitos repaint. Now, this is Straitos based off one of his earlier mini-comic appearances, and I'm not really sure how many issues exactly did he actually appear like this, but it was in the really early 80s, and it's a pretty obscure look for him. I'm not saying that it's a bad look. You know, I'm sure there's some people that actually want this version of him. He looks kind of more primal. He's bare-chested for sure, bare-bodied for the most of him. He does have the armor and the jetpack on. It is a very colorful look for him, I gotta say. But I'm not really sure whether this is a Stratos that we really need at this moment in time. My issue with this is that I'm starting to see maybe a disturbing trend here where we're getting sort of like multiple repaints in a single assortment. Although I know they've shared the listings for the upcoming waves as well, and it seems that some of them appear to be all new figures. But we basically started this Origin series having all new figures anyway in the assortments, and it started sort of like with wave 5 that we would get a variant repaint in there, and it's come to the point that this particular wave has 2 of them. And my issue would also be with the choice of the figure that was selected for the variant repaint. In this case, Straitos is a figure that we just saw like a couple of waves back, literally in February of this year. So I wouldn't mind if they did a alternate version of one of the more prominent characters from the earlier waves, whom we've really not seen that much of, like maybe a variant of Man at Arms, maybe a more aged version of him, something along those lines. But I'm just saying that to get a new version of Stratos like so close to his last appearance in the line, that's a bit it's starting to get to the point where it's a bit frustrating, annoying even. I did get a bit excited at first when I saw that Stratos here was holding onto a weapon accessory, and I thought that cool, at least he's getting like one separate accessory, unlike the previous version of him which just came with the backpack and came with nothing else. And then I looked closely and I thought, hey shit, you know what, that's actually supposed to be the mace weapon that goes with Clawful. And they also revealed the images of the new Clawful figure that's supposed to come out in the next coming wave, wave 8. So somehow in this picture, they've just had Stratos holding on to Clawful's weapon. I'm not sure why. Maybe they didn't know where the weapons were supposed to be paired up. You think so? But anyway, it's kind of a major bummer. Okay guys, so that's the video. Now let's kickstart the discussion in the comments straight. I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think of the images from this wave. And I'll catch you guys again real soon with more content. Thank you.